July's Chuck Chat. Thanks for coming. We'll start off with a little humor. Freedom's never free, kind of like everything else. A 4th of July planning tip. This year, throw veggie burgers on the grill, and next year, someone else will host the cookout. And that was a true story. Politicians used to promise us a chicken in every pot. Now all we get is a turkey in every office. And so you can applaud if you want to. It's July 4th, the only day of the year you might actually see a young person look up from their cell phones. And that is absolutely true. My aerobics instructor says I've got the chest of a 23-year-old. What did he say about your 60-year-old ass? We never mentioned you. Now I will tell you, I'm going to remind you here that these are resident submitted in many cases. That is a resident submitted cartoon. Get ready, I'm going to pour on the milk. I wish Dad wasn't too cheap to buy fireworks. Rice Krispies. Snap, crackle, pop, right? Maybe next time you'll try a little sunscreen. So did you folks have a nice vacation? Don't know yet, we haven't watched it. That is true. My kids constantly look at everything through their phone. I'm like, put it down. This is the Grand Canyon. Look at the Grand Canyon. Finally, you've gone away without you checking your computer or phone every 5 minutes and say, why are you standing so funny? My wife tells me this all the time. Stop checking your phone on vacation. I think your child is dead. This is a kangaroo. That was a resident submitted cartoon, so just so you know. In case anybody's offended. I went to the paint store to get thinner. It didn't work. My friend said she wouldn't eat cow's tongue because it came out of a cow's mouth. I gave her an egg. I've started telling everyone about the benefits of eating dried grapes. It's all about raising awareness. While you may self-identify as a guy who pays his bills, your credit score identifies you as something else. Let's see, we've taken you off of smoking, drinking, and rich food. What else do you enjoy? Remember to drink lots of water and stay indoors between 11 a.m. and November 1st. That is true in Texas. It's so hot that the dog melted. I'm sure it's fine. So I want to show a little video that we're showing with our new associates called What is Old? And it's just this little study that they did. And young people have some misconceptions about aging and what old is. And so we're kind of challenging that stigma. And I wanted you to see this video.
Hey, how's it going? You can stand right there, that's your mark. How you doing?
I'm great, how are you?
Great. Just tell us your first name and your age.
My real age?
My name is Paolo. I'm 25 years old.
My name is Daniela, and I'm 19.
24. 35.
31. 33.
I'm 26 years old.
What age do you consider to be old?
Late 40s.
Maybe 50.
I feel like 30s and mid 20s. So I'd say like 40 years old.
I'd probably say 50s.
I'd like you to show me how an old person would cross the street. Show me how an old person would send a text message. person do a push-up? What about jumping jacks? Okay, hang on. There's someone I want you to meet.
Hello, I'm Birch. I'm 66.
Hi, I'm Daphne, and I'm 68.
Dee, and I'm 55.
George Pathfinder, 75.
My name's Parvati. I'm 70.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We're gonna give you about 2 minutes to teach each other something that you are good at.
I can teach you a jump that I do.
Okay, please.
Both of your legs go up,
Mhm.
and your arm goes up, and your left arm goes like to the side.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, lift, 1, 2, 3, and bring it to your heart, and bring it to your heart, and the head in, yeah. You wanna try to get your balance, and it's up. Now, bring your legs and your feet up. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So when you come out of the turn, either way, you go back to that exercise.
Over, now forward. Over, yeah.
Square like this, and we hook. Hook. Jab across. Hook. And then we'll go like this, right?
1, 2, 3.
Now, what age might you consider to be old?
Probably 80 or 90. He could just do everything that I told him to do. An age that I consider to be old now might be 100.
Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I said in the 50s, I thought that was young. But when I thought about it, like,
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
It really changed my thinking of what old is. You taught me something today. Clearly, there's no way she's old, you know?
Now I know from today, hey, I don't look at age.
At my age, I feel like I did when I was in my 20s.
There's so many things that I still want to do. There's so many things that I can do. As long as I'm growing and learning, then age doesn't matter.
When people start stopping, that's when they start getting old.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thanks, Daphne.
It's great meeting you.
How long have you been doing this? Is this a new skill?
40 years.
Yeah, we don't have any old people here. So, when people do come here, new associates, we're kind of challenging the status quo. You guys are having so much fun and doing so many things and experiencing new things and learning new skills. It's unusual for them. It surprises many of the associates when they start to work here how much you're doing and how much fun you're having. And so one of the things that we're trying to do is introduce them to aging services, a great career path, right? And there's a lot of fun that you're able to have in aging services. So, and that it doesn't have to be, that negative mentality. Aging is not. And there's no old folks in this room, right? Okay. Okay. Questions. Sometimes resident questions are not very audible to everyone in the audience. Could the moderator please repeat the questions before answering them? I'm going to try to do that. I will work on this. Dirty, stained, worn carpets, elevators broken, pipe leaks, wires hanging down from the ceiling, AC issues, boiler issues, equipment shipment delays. So why are we planning to start phase 4 expansion in mid-2025? Can we delay the expansion for more than just a year while we try to get what we are already having to do to a functional state? The answer is this: we should have the capacity to do both. The longer we delay, the more expensive the project becomes. There are many upgrades that we're getting with the phase 4 expansion that we need to continue to make improvements on the building. I think I've mentioned before that You know, we have to upgrade the stormwater drainage in the Preston courtyard anyway and around the campus to bring it up to code. We have to install a replacement roof on B-Wing, probably in 27. We have to prepare the drains for that. We need generator upgrades and electrical upgrades in both the Windsor and the Preston building. Those are part of phase 4. And so we really, and things do break. Even when they're new, they break. Right, Carlisle residents?
Yes.
Yes. So we'll continue to work on both. And I have some slides about what we're going to do on the HVAC. But unfortunately, you know, most of these projects that are being talked about are upgrades to our systems, like the boiler issues. I mean, it's really a project boiler replacement for the Preston. And it's going to upgrade the ability for, you know, hot water in the Preston building and also recirculating the hot water and improve our energy usage. Yes, it's a massive project, but it's one that upgrades our systems. The 3 elevators that have not been modernized to this point are all being modernized in the next few months, one at a time. Those are upgrades to the Preston, so it adds to the useful life. As we complete these projects, we're adding useful life to the Preston building. Phase 4 is about repositioning the Preston building to add amenities and better connections between the Windsor and the Preston, and also bring the Preston building up to code. And we're doing all of these things simultaneously. We're, you know, like I said, last time we talked about the electric switches in the Preston being replaced. Those are upgrades. Those are things that are capital expense projects, but they're going on at the same time as we're planning for the future. And that's really, I know that it creates anxiety amongst you residents, but it's really a good thing that Westminster has the bandwidth to accomplish these tasks, and that we're not kind of stuck in a rut where we're not going to make these improvements. But we have the capacity to do both. The door push access button for the Preston A-Wing door, first floor leading in the visitor parking, hadn't worked for over a month. The door is heavy and almost impossible to open if you use a walker. I saw employees and management continually going in and out that heavy door. Why did it take them over a month to get anyone to do anything about a situation that didn't provide accessibility for people with disabilities? Every time a door breaks here or an elevator breaks, it causes problems for accessibility. We understand that. In this instance, a control board went bad. It took us like 3 weeks to get the control board in and to do the replacement. That happens. There are multiple doors to use. I understand that there's mobility issues, but if you think about it, there are other paths. Yes, we were absolutely aware of it. We were continually working on it. We were trying to get the control board in. It's just nobody keeps anything in stock anymore. Everything is coming in. It's coming across the pond. You're having to order stuff from China. It takes a long time to get here. We're not making enough stuff in the U.S., quite frankly, when it comes to control boards and things like that. We need to work on that. So we are ordering when we can, like on the elevator, the Carlisle elevator recently with the Teflon slides. So we ordered a spare set in case the other elevator goes down. So if there's opportunities to do that and to have items on hand, we're doing that. Control boards are kind of a different animal. Sometimes you can order a spare and be able to use it, but if it sits on a shelf for a year, it's not going to be usable anyway. So you have to kind of think about what's reasonable, what's not. Unfortunately, you know, that door was difficult for people, and I understand that. But, you know, use another entrance, drop off your car if you need to, ask for the shuttle. There's lots of options.
That door is being worked on as I speak.
Again? So that'd be second time.
Well, no, I mean, the door you're talking about going
Yeah,
down.
right.
When I came back from lunch, the guy was up there.
Well, that's good.
Working on
But it was working and then it stopped working and now it's being worked on again. So, you know, yeah. Please put a new please put a new organizational chart on the portal. The last one was dated November 23rd, so we did that. The carpet in the solarium is dirty and stained and has been that way for several months and doesn't give our visitors a very good impression of us. Can it be cleaned? Yes, and it should have been done already. Has it been done? The work is scheduled, so I think it was done Monday, but I'll check. The stairwell in Preston on the Mopac side is filthy. Can it be cleaned regularly? Yes, I have addressed that issue. And they are scheduling it. Why is the art room a mess? Because it's art? I don't know. Yeah, it's being used and they're messy people. Who's using the art room? Raise your hand, right? I see you back there. How many of you make a mess? Oh, all of them. Okay, that's what I thought. And you're getting ready to move to your new art studio, so it'll still be messy though. That's kind of the way we build it, right? Yeah, the third floor of the Windsor is going to be in their new art studio. It should be ready by the end of this month. What is the difference between first floor and second floor healthcare? The first floor is mainly for short-term rehab stays. It could be a couple days up to 100 days, while the second floor is primarily used for long-term healthcare residents. So usually life care residents or that are on long stays or private pay residents are there for a long time. The first floor is kind of folks that are going in and out. Now there may be exceptions to the rule on occasion, depending on the needs of the residents. In May, a memo said problems with exhaust flappers, condensation drains, also fresh air intake for Carlisle suffered a catastrophic failure when 2 of the unit's compressors failed. A power failure that caused a hasty computer in the Carlisle to default, all listed as design flaws. Can we please not hire the same Carlisle designers and engineers and construction company for the Phase 4 expansion project? That was a long question, I had to take a sip. The engineers and subcontractors have been changed and are not involved in designing the next phase. However, we are committed to using White Construction for Phase 4. You know, the contractor installs what's designed. And unfortunately, what was designed was not the best it could have been in the Carlisle. You know, we're replacing the exhaust covers. We have been for the last 2 to 3 weeks. But if you look at them, we're replacing them with a higher end exhaust cover, which are rated for high-rise buildings. But if you look at the Windsor building, it has flappers on it that are just a simple residential flapper. And the design folks specified the same flapper that was on the Windsor. The problem is the manufacturer changed the specifications on the flapper that was on the Windsor. So although it had in the Windsor, it looks to be the same flapper on the Carlisle that was originally installed. The strength and thickness of the flapper door was not as strong as what was on the Windsor. So when they installed it on the Carlisle, the wind started knocking them about and was waking people up in the middle of the night. So now we've gone to this high-rise exhaust cover, and it's an improvement. But, you know, White Construction didn't design that. They installed what they were told. Their subcontractor installed what they were told to install. Same thing with the, you know, fresh air intake. Daikin, which is one of the best air conditioning companies as far as quality goes, and actually made in the U.S., was installed in the building per the mechanical engineer's specifications. So I don't think White Construction can be blamed for everything that goes wrong. In fact, you know, most contractors give you a 1-year warranty, but White Construction, if there's been a failure, in many cases after the 1-year warranty, they've come out and fixed it. And they've done that on the Windsor building. When the Windsor building was originally constructed, we had a problem with some transition strips between the old slab and the new slab. And it broke down over about 3 years it took it to break down, and they came in and fixed it. So it's a good company. They do quality work, but they do install what the mechanical engineer designs. So I do feel better about the mechanical engineer that's working on the project, the Phase 4 project, and I hope they do a better job. but the subcontractor that installed the air conditioning will not be used. The light switch in the laundry room on 3rd floor Preston doesn't work 24 hours a day. If I put a takeout container there, early in the morning, it's dark and the light switch doesn't come on. Can the timer be adjusted so the light can come on? I think we've tried to adjust that timer multiple times, so we're just gonna replace it. And I'll have Abel address that. In the solarium, a chair with a broken back has been set against a wall since May. Fix it or move it out. Yeah, that's ridiculous. The staff got a little talking to about that. I didn't fire anybody though, just so you know. I don't fire people a lot, okay? Is that a rumor? I've heard it. Is the additional solar film planned for all apartments in the Carlisle and the Windsor expansion, or is it something we can participate in or not? It is planned for all apartments and the entire building. We want to maintain a consistent look, and there are great benefits to having this done. Has anybody had it done in the Windsor so far? And how did it turn out? Looks great, right? Has it decreased the amount of air conditioning you have to have in the space? Did it make your apartment cooler? Don't know yet? It will. It's really a great deal, and what we want to do is also have one solar film. So if something goes wrong, we have one contractor to reach out to, one company that produced the film, and has a 15-year warranty. So it's just much easier to keep track of that type of thing, especially when you have a large building and campus like we do. At the recent resident association meeting, you mentioned setting aside $200,000 for contingency expenses in the budget. The original appliances, washers, dryers, refrigerators, and microwaves in the Windsor apartments are now over 12 years old. Could your contingency planning include proactively purchasing a few potential replacement appliances to be held for the Windsor apartments? Recently, a Windsor resident had to wait over 3 weeks for a replacement washer to be installed. I heard one where a resident waited 3 weeks for a refrigerator, and that's not acceptable. We do have spares that can be brought in. When we order new ones, they typically take us a few weeks to get them in, but we do have spares already on site. Now, it may not be the same size or the same color as the one that you have, but we should be able to bring in a spare, and that is part of contingency planning. Occasionally, we have situations where 2 or 3 break down at the same time, so maybe we need to build a bigger par level to have on hand. But you should not have to wait 3 weeks for a replacement. And I've had a conversation with Abel and the plant operations team about that going forward. You should never be without a refrigerator for 3 weeks, a day or 2 at the most. Lately, there seems to be an increase in flies, crickets, cockroaches in the solarium, mainly in the kitchen. Can you have more frequent exterminator services for that area? Yes, we will address this. I saw a Texas-sized roach while ago in the bathroom and I killed it, but I was afraid to. It came after me and I got it. It was a big one. It was one of those big water roaches. In February chat, a resident asked if we could be notified ahead of time when the dining room menu is going to be changed, so we can order a soon-to-be-eliminated favorite one last time. Sadly, that didn't happen when the bistro menu was changed recently. Please try to remember to alert us ahead of time when you plan to change the menus. So I was told that a notice went out on the portal that a new menu was coming. So we're not publishing a piece of paper and sticking it in your cubbies, but we will announce it on the portal when the menu is changing. So I ask you people that are using the portal, if you have friends that don't, please tell them the menu's changing so they can order that Philly cheesesteak one last time before it changes. I know how you feel though. Residents tie their dogs to game room chairs while they go to the bistro. The dogs aren't service dogs, or they would stay with the resident. That's right. Can we restrict pets from the game room where some of us like to sit and drink coffee and eat a pastry. Yes, that will be addressed. Pets should be in control at all times. If they're tied to a chair, are they in your control? No. So let's not do that. What is the status of fixing the gurgling pipes problem in the Carlisle?
Are they on pitch?
Yeah. So this is a real problem, isn't it, Carlisle residents? Yes, it is. So we tried a solution that didn't work, and so we went back to the drawing board, and I have another solution I'm going to try and see if it works. In the interim, I would ask that you shut the drain to your sink, and you won't, it'll cut down on most of that noise. We'll see what the new solution, if the new solution works, we'll see. The idea is to basically there's a gap in between the plumbing that's bringing the condensation water from a pump in the condensation drain in the Carlisle building into their usually guest room sink or master bath sink. And there's a gap in between that water and the water line that's sitting in the trap. And so it makes this sound, gurgling sound. And it's not terribly loud, but it is annoying. Some people would say it's terribly loud. But if you shut your drain, it'll eliminate most of the noise. Many Carlisle residents have doors, a closet door and a bedroom door that bang into each other, which is a design flaw. A solution is installing a bifold door on the closet door, which has worked in 2 apartments that I know of. Can Westminster provide the installation to residents willing to pay the cost? Yes. If you're interested in having this done, please reach out to marketing, and then we can make a revision to your apartment. Unfortunately, it will cost you the expense, though. Might maintenance staff be placed on call to turn back on AC chillers if needed after regular work hours? Yes, they should be. There is on-call staff available after hours. If the chiller goes down, overtime is always approved. So I've heard that people say that overtime is not approved, and that's not true. We also have portable air conditioning. So, you know, sometimes there's issues with an individual air conditioner in an apartment. And in that case, we will employ a portable air conditioner or offer you a guest room while we work on it. We consider air conditioning a standard that is required for all residents, especially in Texas. In regards to the water that leaked into the apartments on the ground floor a few weeks ago, I was told the new pipes were placed on top of existing pipes, and the older pipes couldn't support the new pipes and collapsed. Is this what happened? Let me take a drink. If it is, why was it done this way? If that's not what happened, what did? A lot of time and very loud noise were involved in putting in new pipes. I don't understand how they could fail so quickly. Can it happen again? So no, that's not what happened. This was not new pipe. So a leak was reported in the C-wing of the Preston from the old pipe. When an exploratory effort to discover the source of the leak was undertaken by cutting back the insulation on the pipes, the chilled water line broke at apartment 463. An attempt was made to shut off the Preston main by the city at the time the valve broke on the city main. So the city came and to shut off. Now, granted, we could have shut it off in another way. What was determined later, because we've installed some isolation valves that could have been used. But by the time the city had the main repaired enough to turn off the water had already infiltrated those 7 apartments. But it was not new pipe, which is good news, right? It's old pipe, and I have some slides in here that for people that live on C-wing that are scared to death right now, that it's going to happen to them. What we're going to do to keep it from happening. What is the timeline for each building solar film to be installed? and that's gonna take about 3 months per building. So the Windsor's being done first. They started on the 5th floor. It took them about a week and a half, 2 weeks, to do the 5th floor. Now they're down on the 4th floor. So it should take about a little bit less than 3 months maybe, and then they'll move to the Carlisle. How many advance notices, or how much advance notice will each resident get? So we'll send out a memo 2 to 3 days in advance before starting the next floor of each building, which the 4th floor residents received a notice before we started there. Will the window film be applied on the inside or outside of the windows? If on the inside, will the installers move the furniture? The window film will be installed on the inside of the class. Yes, the installers will move furniture near the windows before installation begins. And they've been doing that, right? They're nice folks. They've been doing a good job.
They've done a good job.
Yeah. Could we get a bench or chair at the ground floor of the elevator next to the nurses station? So, plus a railing along the wall to the right of the elevator. So this is in the Windsor. There are often long waits there, which means a lot of standing with no support, and it can get very uncomfortable for those with balance or back issues. So I've asked for the interior designer to give us some bench options for that location. If I pull the emergency cord by mistake, what is the quickest way to cancel? So if it's a wireless pull station, you just push that little check mark on that pull station to reset it, okay? Pendants, on the other hand, have to be reset by us. We have that delightful outdoor kitchen and pizza oven in the Windsor courtyard, which is seldom used. During the appropriate seasons, which is probably November, I guess. During the appropriate seasons, why not feature a monthly pizza and salad night on the patio, reservations in advance, and charge $13 per person like our specials on the patio, party on the patio. We will look into this possibility, so I'll pass that suggestion along to food and beverage. I like it. And you could play bocce ball up there, right? We could have a tournament. And then, yeah, Mrs. Verlander could beat me again. All right, could we get approximate return times for trips when possible? I know that trips to grocery, etc. can vary as to wishes of the people on the trip. Movies and concerts are easy for us to judge. I'm thinking mainly for longer trips, like out of Austin, where the time could vary a great deal. So I asked Ruth to do that going forward. Once the upcoming construction is underway, what is the plan to accommodate residents who are impacted by the noise or dust? Will there be guest rooms available? Yeah, we'll be installing soundboard between the construction area and the resident spaces to mitigate the sound. And yes, there will be some guest rooms kept in reserve if needed. I would like to see a picture of the plans for changes to the Windsor courtyard, especially the changes in front of the bistro and Harrisville Hall balcony. So there's not any changes to the bistro, the front of that occurring. Harrisville Hall balcony, we've talked about putting some kind of shade device up there to make it a more usable space, similar to the pergola that's on the area outside of the bistro. Other than that, we don't have any plans for the Windsor courtyard. Parking at Carlisle is very difficult due to many dumpsters. When are they going away, and can they be consolidated? So yes, they will be. The additional dumpsters will be removed by the end of this week, and we'll be installing a construction dumpster up by the Carlisle for the contractors to use. We'll no longer have them sitting in the driveway. When will an ADA pool lift be installed in the pool area? So we have a pool chair that is meant to help residents get into the pool, and we have an ADA accessible ramp. That's what we've used for years. If one of you or a friend of yours or spouse has a specific problem, let's talk with therapy, rehab, and see if we can't come up with a solution, okay? So far, the years we've had it open, which has been 12 now, we haven't had to have a lift. The one thing nice about the ramp is that as you go down the ramp in the chair, you become buoyant, and so that you're able to really walk around in the pool. So it works pretty well. When discussing Phase 4, can you please explain when the dog park run will be completed? So this will be covered at next month's chat, but likely near the end of the project, so mid-2026, which seems like a long ways away, doesn't it? So did 2024. Couple of years. Will you form a dog park resident committee to advise the architects as to what we'd like to see in the park, such as, but not limited to, water fountain, plenty of shade, benches, sorry, not beaches. It'd be nice to have a beach installed now. Benches for residents to sit in real grass. No. But this list of considerations and others have been discussed. If you have suggestions, please send me an email. So we probably won't have a committee devoted to just that, but if you have suggestions, mention it to somebody on the expansion committee or just shoot me an email. When will the HVAC be upgraded in the Carlisle to provide heat when the temperature outside is above 72 degrees? Unfortunately, the system is not designed to operate in that way. So if it's 72 degrees outside and you need heat in your apartment, you're probably going to have another source. If you have a fireplace, you can turn it on. If you don't have a fireplace, like a tabletop heater or something like that, something that's safe, you might want to try. But the Carlisle HVAC system is what it's called a variable refrigerant flow system. And it is not capable of producing heat out when the temperature outside is 72 degrees or higher. It will cause too much pressure in the system, and it won't do that. So it has safety devices to keep it from doing that. Why can't I bring my own bottle of wine to the Laurel or Rowan, but I can in the bistro? This isn't fair. There was an exclamation mark there too. The bistro has no liquor license. That's the only reason you can bring your own there. So as we were getting liquor licenses, I tried to get one for the Laurel and the Rowan and leave the bistro alone so that at least you would have one venue on the campus that you could bring your own to. And so that's what that was all about. And you apparently like our beverage menu, as many of you are using it, and it's a pretty good price, I think. Let's see. So let's talk about Preston HVAC plumbing replacement project, which is due to start probably in a month or two. Right now it's in the engineer's hands. I think we have some folks scared that we're going to start ripping apart your kitchens and bathrooms. And originally we thought we were going to have to. The plumbing that needs to be replaced is between the kitchens and bathrooms and the walls of your apartments on the C wing. And then we have found an alternative solution. So we'll be building horizontal runs of the pipe and the corridors and then taking it into your apartments. So this is a crude drawing. How many people have heard me say I have no artistic ability whatsoever? I know. So if you look at this, the one on the left-hand side is showing an apartment. It's a kitchen wall is what it is. And there's cabinets on the top and cabinets on the bottom. And usually there's a sink in between the cabinets. And in that wall is the pipes that need to be replaced. They're about an inch and a half in some locations that are in that wall. There's two sets of pipe, one coming and one going. And those are the pipes that we have to get to. The only way to get to them, we thought, well, which is true, it's still this way, we would have to take the cabinets off the wall and cut open the sheetrock, so basically tear your kitchens apart. Some of you are lucky and you have apartment bathrooms, which are showers typically, with tile walls, and those are against the wall that we need to get to for these pipes. I'll show you, these are the areas, so C wing, everything else, A and B wing, and the core of the Preston building have already had their plumbing, their HVAC plumbing replaced. That's all good news, right? This is C wing, it only affects C wing, this next phase of the project, which is really the original part of the building, okay? So yes, these apartments on C wing, first, second, third, fourth, there is no fifth, and the ground floor. So all of those apartments. Now, here's an example. This is actually a guest apartment, but where we need to get to is probably either behind that set of cabinets or in the shower on the wall. And so one way or another, we're either having to tear up a bathroom or tear up a kitchen. So we decide we're not gonna do that. And what we're gonna do is if we were building this brand new, we would have done what's done on A and B wing, where you have a chase running horizontally in the corridor that goes into, it branches off into the apartment. So we're gonna build that in the corridors first and then take branches into the apartments. And then we won't have to tear up your kitchens and bathrooms because every Preston apartment has this drop-down ceiling grid inside of it. So we have enough room in that drop-down ceiling grid that we can take some ceiling tiles out and do the work connecting to the new plumbing, the new pipes coming in, which is good news. That means we won't have to move everybody out 20 at a time and then move you back and forth. So we'll be able to do the work in the corridor first, we'll build the new plumbing, and then we'll come into the apartments, and the impact to you will be minimal, maybe a couple days at the worst. So good news? Yeah. This is another example of an apartment. So this is a newly refurbished apartment, but you can see the drop-down ceiling. So we can pop the ceiling grid up, just the tiles, and then we can get up in there and just make the connection to the new plumbing, the HVAC plumbing that's in the corridor. And we won't have to shut down the whole building's air conditioning because as we went along with the new plumbing project that we already completed, we created isolation valves for each section of the building at each floor. So we can shut down and work on just that section, and then we have 30 portable air conditioning units that we can use if we do have to shut down any one individual apartment's air conditioning at a time. So that's all good news, and it's going to save us millions of dollars and should be better quality plumbing than we had before, and it's going to minimize the inconveniences to all the residents. Like I said, we'll start probably on the 5th floor, our 4th floor, and work our way down, and we'll give you notice, and I'll give you more details, and I'll have a specific meeting just for the folks that are in the C-Wing to let you know more details about how we're going to do it, and I'll introduce you to the subcontractor that's going to do the work. Parking. Westminster has a 4-hour guest parking in the guest parking area between the Preston and Windsor buildings and in front of the marketing entrance and also in front of the Arbor entrance and behind the Carlisle building along the Mopac wall. Westminster maintains a wait list for covered or garage spaces. When a space becomes available, the resident at the top of the list will be offered the space. Residents may not switch parking spaces or allow family or private duty aides to use parking spaces. The parking area that's on the south part of the campus, the south end of the campus that's carport covered, that's going to be turned into visitor parking over the next few months. We've already vacated, so as residents vacate apartments, we're vacating those parking spaces and putting them in the Windsor garage. Reserved parking spaces are only available to residents who actively drive their own vehicles. Vehicles parked in any area of the property must be driven at least once each month. So if you have a vehicle that you haven't used in multiple months and you no longer actively drive, you need to relinquish your parking space. When a vehicle is no longer in practical use, it must be moved off Westminster property. Whenever possible, residents and visitors should park in Westminster's parking areas rather than on the street. The resident neighbors hate it when we park on their streets, even though it's a public street and we were here before they were. Westminster has designated 4-hour disabled parking spaces. Residents and guests are urged to observe the time limit. Why do you think that might be? Because there's a lot of people that have mobility problems, right? And if you lock up the space for a full day, then they can't use the space, and they need it to. Only vehicles which display a disabled license or permit may use these spaces. So just keep that in mind. And if you do, if you have second vehicles and you rarely use the second vehicle, we would love you to get rid of it. and everybody else would appreciate it too. We are working on parking. I've talked about parking. Certainly putting dumpsters in parking spaces is not a great use of parking spaces. So we're doing what we can there. We're also starting to allow more private sitters and visitors that are here often to park in the Carlisle parking garage. There is space there. And we just need to be good neighbors and utilize our parking spaces. And just be friendly. And if we're not driving anymore actively, relinquishing the spaces and allowing your family to park and visitor parking. That'll help everybody. And we'll continue to work on parking. Political signage. Anybody thinking about putting up some political signs? Please don't. Westminster strives to be a politically neutral community. No signs or posters are allowed to be placed on Westminster property. This did happen recently. We talked to the resident and they removed it. So please don't put up any political signs, okay? I don't think it'll ever get that bad though, will it? I'm not seeing that bad in Austin. Star cards can be used for any associate, including those in management supervisor positions. Star cards can be turned in to any reception desk or any member of management. And you don't even have to fill out a star card if you want to write a note. I've gotten a lot of those recently. We passed them on to HR. So you see an opportunity to add an associate on the back, please do so. And we keep track of those, and we count them, and then everybody gets, each department gets the Star of the Year award. That's what we do with those. And I'm not going to go through this. I will say that we have received the results from the Resident Experience Survey. 75% participation. So I was aiming for 85%. We were going to have a pizza party. So no pizza party, but that's okay. We had one to kick off the event. You don't need one. We did receive 93% overall satisfaction, which gives us a 5-star award. So thank you very much for that. 94% of you would recommend Westminster to friends and family. 6% of you would recommend us to your enemies. People you didn't like. No, I'm just kidding. 97% warm and friendly associates. I think that's really good. 95% associate professionalism. 97% for reception, health services, transportation. Those were the highest ranked departments. 96% for security and healthcare center. 95% for accounting, marketing and sales, and community life services. So that's Ruth. 95% for accounting is pretty good for billing folks. I mean, that's... The lowest rating was quality of 1890 broadcast at 70% satisfaction. So we have some work to do there. I'll go over the details at my next chat, as well as talk about Phase 4. So next chat will probably be just answering a few questions, the Resident Experience Survey, and Phase 4. And then I'll do a big presentation at Resident Association. How many of you have these takeout containers in your apartments? Tell the truth. Yeah. So we're missing about 400. I was talking with Brian in the back of the room. He's like, can I order some more? And I'm like, of course you can. We do want to try this. I think it's a good, project. And we will continue to participate in it. Do please not throw these away. Do return them. How many people think it's been a pretty good deal so far? You getting used to it? Yeah. We think the results are getting better. I think there was some early throwing away of the to-go containers. We thought about doing a search apartment to apartment with some German shepherds, but then we thought better of it. Thought we wouldn't do that. But do try to encourage your neighbors to return these. I had a nightmare about it actually, and it didn't turn out well at all. I was arrested. They had me on the news. It was terrible. So tell us about the to-go boxes. Anyway, The car wash has been rescheduled for August the 1st. There's the Kendra Gives Back, which is jewelry, right? On August the 9th. The dog show is September the 13th, so get your dogs ready. The silent auction will be October the 18th, and thank you for all those folks that have donated to this great cause. We appreciate your support. And karaoke and the Rowan Tree Lounge on August the 19th. And I heard the first karaoke night was quite successful, so go have a margarita or two and go sing. It's pretty fun. So great way to raise money and great entertainment as well. There's an interesting presentation that our rehab department's going to be doing in August, on August the 16th, and it's about pain management. And I'm always concerned about this because I think that sometimes there are residents here that suffer needlessly with pain, and that there are resources readily available on the campus that can help you with that. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, myself, I had this terrible sciatica pain, and I could not, for the life of me, get rid of it. I tried, exercise, and I tried medication, and nothing really was working. And so I asked one of our therapists about it, and she told me about some stretches that I could do. And it cleared it up. And every time, if I ever get a touch of it, I can go to those stretches and it completely clears it up. So there's ultrasound devices here, there's e-stim devices here, there's whirlpools here, hot tubs, exercise, gymnastics equipment, or gym equipment. There's just a lot of opportunities to work on that. So don't put up with pain. And if you do know people that are struggling with pain and that's keeping them from being active, mention this presentation, refer them to Robin. Robin can help them get a referral and get an assessment and taken part of some resources that we have available here. It's really is a great help. And I hate for any of you to be putting up with that all day long, every day. But I know that, there are some pains that can't be solved, but most of them can. So don't put up with it. Fight it. And use the resources that you have available. That's August the 16th at 11 a.m. in the Solarium, okay? And that's all I have. We have about 8 minutes for questions, or we can just stop it here. What would you like? You want to stop it here? Or you want questions? Okay. Nobody wants anything, so we'll just sit here. Anybody have any questions? No? Yes? One in the back. Do you have a microphone?
Yes.
And I'm going to repeat your question after you ask it. I've been trying to learn that for about 10 years.
Can you tell me what the high piercing sound we heard right outside of B-Wing was last night?
Can I tell you what the high piercing sound right outside of B-Wing was last night? No, I can't. I don't know. You heard it too. What time?
It was about 10:30 or 11.
About 10:30 or 11. Nothing was in the security report.
There was a truck parked out there. Sounded like
Chuck?
there was sound coming from
Oh, maybe it had a backfire
that.
or something?
No,
No?
backfire. No, backfire.
Oh,
Chuck, it was the floor cleaning in the bistro. The machine was down here in the parking lot till after midnight.
oh wow. They did a good job, but that was loud, huh?
Very much so.
So we had a steam cleaning completed at the beach. See, we figure out things together. That's why we're extraordinary together, because we keep figuring out things. So we had the bistro floor steam clean last night, and that's what that was. But surely they can do it without making a lot of noise. We'll talk. Luckily, we only have to do that once a year, so we'll talk to them about that. Yes, ma'am.
Last session, you talked about needing clearance from the city to activate the solar. Did that happen?
Yes, no. So I'm going to repeat your question. So the question was, the last session, I talked about needing permission from the city to activate our solar grid, and she asked, has that happened yet? The answer is still no. It has not happened yet. They are scheduling us for a new inspection. One of the grids is ready to go, the other one is still, the switch is still coming in. So you can't, until the switch is installed, you can't ask for scheduling. Anybody else? Don't hurt yourself, Maria.
Chuck, this is just a long-term question. With all the construction we've had, and we were here, we've been here 6 years, and starting on the Carlisle at that time and so on. Does anybody check the duct system for dust and so on? Does that on a regular cleaning schedule throughout the buildings?
We do, and you know, one of the things that we do when there's construction and then there's high dust, like, or even with the Grove, the Grand Living construction, we're filtering all the air coming into the building. The fresh air is filtered at MERV 13, and then all the corridor air conditioning systems are filtering at MERV 13. Your apartments are filtered at 10. So we're doing a really good job of cleaning the air, but we do inspect the ducts certainly when we refurbish apartments, and periodically when they're replacing your filters in your apartments, they're supposed to be inspecting the ducts as well.
Do you have an estimate of when the Windsor guest rooms might be available on the 3rd floor?
Oh, I meant to put that in my slides. I think you submitted that
That's
question.
okay.
August, I had so many this month that it's hard to keep up with. August the 15th, all of the guest rooms will be online, as I have told them. That's our goal. So we have, and I think total guest room count will be 10 at that point. So we have 6 in the Preston and 4 in the Windsor that will be available.
Is there any regular dryer vent cleaning?
Is there any regular dryer vent cleaning? Yes, they do that. I think it's every 3 years. Yeah. I'll ask and make sure that they are. I know that we've had some issues in the Carlisle. They think that's the exhaust covers that is not letting some of the humidity out. Do you feel like it's taking a long time for drying of clothes? No, just in general, wanted to know. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you all. Have a great rest of your week.